over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark. She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games, and even just last game, she only had 6 points. But it wasn't only her performance on the court that was worrying fans, it was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she normally does, and even in her pregame routine, she was doing some things differently. Some fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games, so there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things pointing to the fact that something wasn't right.
Caitlin Clark is limping off the court, again. And this time the groan you heard wasn't just hers. It was the collective gasp of a league staring at its own reflection in the funhouse mirror. One more injury to the face of women's basketball, and the entire WNBA could be the punchline in the saddest "I told you so" ever televised.
Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury. Caitlin Clark will be missing tonight's game versus the Los Angeles Sparks. The venue will be open. Out with a left groin injury. We go from a quad to a quad to a groin. A quad to a quad to a groin. Shout out to the folks over there at Twitter scrubbing the game, looking for, and there it is. Yup. Caitlin Clark dealing with that groin issue. And now, this just occurred to me. Caitlin Clark clearly not looking like herself. The Indiana Fever has the game put away, yet we still put her back in the game at 45 seconds left.
The Fever led Seattle by 8, clock bleeding out, victory gift wrapped. Yet Stephanie White tapped Clark on the shoulder. Get back in there. 16 seconds later, the rookie superstar planted, winced, and grabbed her left groin. An MRI confirmed everyone's fear. The team called it day-to-day. Fans translated that to pray. But that tiny sliver of game time sliced open a season-long wound, and it's been festering for weeks.
The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury, and this is obviously such a crucial time and a crucial year for the league because they go into CBA negotiations at the end of the year.
Remember the quad strain that benched Clark for 5 games 2 weeks ago? During her hiatus, national viewership nosedived by more than half, and ticket resale sites looked like ghost towns. She charged back with a heroic 32-point splash, then went ice cold, clanking 22 straight threes. 1 for 23 isn't a slump, it's a siren. Something deeper, something left leg deep, is wrong. Fans studying slow-motion replays noticed the bulky wrap spiraling up Clark's thigh versus Connecticut. Quads don't heal faster because the schedule says so, but marketing calendars don't wait. Push her out there once, tweak. Rush her again, strain. Now the groin's barking, the body's way of screaming, enough! And the moment Coach White redeployed Clark with the wind locked, that wasn't gutsy. It was Russian roulette with chambers loaded in sponsorship dollars.
She gets a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, and then she fumbles the ball a little bit and she falls to the ground. Now, in real time, a lot of us thought that she actually tripped over Erica Wheeler, but if you slow this down, it's a non-contact jump that kind of happens. As you can see, when she was getting up from that play, she has a look on her face like she is in a lot of pain. Erica Wheeler is helping her up here. She grabs her leg as well, but you can just see she says ow. She's kind of limping to the bench.
Across the league, coaches whisper the game plan: get physical for 40. Refs won't call 38 of it. The evidence is highlight reel ugly. Eye pokes, hip checks, full arm yanks. Opponents drape themselves over Clark like weighted blankets, and the officiating crew pockets its whistle. Physical play is basketball. Unchecked mugging is malpractice. The message to stars? Build armor or break. Clark chose the former, packing on muscle all winter, just in time to compromise her mechanics and ironically raise her injury odds. Clark's first game back from the quad strain rattled Nielsen boxes. 2.2 million tuned in, ABC's third biggest WNBA audience ever. Now picture the opposite curve if her groin keeps her out through Commissioner's Cup, or worse, All-Star. Ad inventory shrinks, merch momentum stalls, and players lose leverage in end-of-year CBA talks. It isn't fair that one athlete props up the league's economy, but fairness has never balanced a budget.
So my initial thoughts on this injury, my initial concerns with this injury is the fact that it is something that is still lingering and it seems to be jumping around. If we go back to the preseason, I think Caitlin Clark went into training camp, or she at least went into the preseason games with a quad injury. This is something that dates all the way back to the beginning of the season. Now, if you have an injury and you don't allow it to heal all the way, your body starts compensating in other ways. And I'm not sure if she initially got this injury because of the amount of muscle that she put on during the off season. The minute that you bulk up, the minute that you add more muscle, the minute that you add any sort of weight to your body, your mechanics change. And a lot of time with professional athletes, they will do it at kind of a slow pace to make sure that the mechanics of their body are on the same pace as the amount of muscle growth and muscle gain that they are adding. And what worries me about this injury is that her quad injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. And that is something, you guys, if you didn't know, I've played basketball my whole life. I also played in college. I never played at the professional level, but I was a straight shooter. And any time that I started getting stronger or putting on more muscle mass, my shot changed. And there was normally some sort of period during that time that it took for me to adjust and start making shots at the same clip that I was making before I put on more muscle. And Caitlin Clark did all of this during the offseason.
Rapid strength gains, shift stride length, and load angles. Women hoopers already tear ACLs at a higher clip than men thanks to hip-knee biomechanics. Add an angry groin and a fatigued quad, and every cut becomes a coin flip. All it takes is one lateral burst, maybe in another meaningless endgame cameo, and the headline changes from day to day to season over. Imagine the outcry if that moment happens with the Fever up double digits, cameras rolling, and 2.8 million fans watching the league's meal ticket hit the floor. The coach gambled, the refs enabled. The league looked away because record viewership felt too delicious to disturb. But the alchemy that turned Clark into a ratings supernova works both ways. Lose her, and the glow disappears overnight. Fans know it. Sponsors know it. Even rival players quietly admit it. Yet Clark, hyper-competitive, burdened by a spotlight big enough to light an arena, will never tap out on her own. Someone has to save her from herself. Protecting Caitlin Clark isn't star treatment. It's league preservation. Ignore the warning lights, and the WNBA could spend the next decade explaining why it let its rising tide fracture on the rocks. The clock is ticking. This time, keep her on the bench until the buzzer and beyond. Before you click away, drop a ball emoji in the comments if you think the Fever need to wrap their star in bubble wrap. Smash the like button so this message reaches the league office, and hit subscribe with notifications on, because we're breaking down every twist of this story the minute it happens. Let's keep the conversation and Caitlin's career alive.